requires conversations. If you don't understand the issues, perhaps you should, we will try to make you understand the issues more. But more importantly, we will tell you our views on the issues, our unadulterated views on the issues, speak the truth that we know it. Hopefully it will help the conversation in some ways and bring some finality to some of the issues. What issues do I talk about? So 3 main issues. Excuse me. The first one is pay me to help me. That's this issue about government using import duties to halt donor items. It's a two-edged sword. This particular issue, one to do with what's happening at the Komfo Anokye Hospital, where items that are being brought in to renovate, that facilities has been halted, at the port. There's that leg. But then there's also the leg of the drugs, that are also coming in through donor support that have also, been halted, at the port, all under the umbrella of import duties. We'll get into that conversation shortly. There's a conversation around the scholarship, saga. Very interesting. It's been raging for, I dare say, about 2-3 weeks. It's still ongoing. There's still meat, to that conversation. We are here for that one too. But then we are also turning some attention to the Jisu constituency, where the MPP primaries get more dramatic by the day. So let's not waste time. Let's get into the conversations. Let me introduce my guest. Tonight I have with me lawyer Apia Dankwa. Welcome, sir. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. D. Kojo Yankson. D. Kojo Yankson. Kojo, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
10 years as the morning man. My goodness.
Wow.
10 years. Congrats.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me here on this holiday. Eid Mubarak to you and to all of our viewers. I'm not a direct beneficiary of the wonderful religion of Islam, but I want to be an indirect beneficiary of the fried meat that becomes abundant
Did you fast?
on holidays like this.
Did you fast? Did you fast? You want meat?
I supported their fast in spirit.
Of course. Right. I want us to start with a scholarship because we kind of shelved it last week. And Kojo, I want you to start because, on the morning show at Joy, you keenly followed this. And it was like a very topical one for you, for days on end. So you start us off.
Thank you. This is perhaps when we get to the end of 2024 by God's grace and we start to remember the big events that occurred during this year, this will be the first major scandal we point to. It will be this. It beggars belief. The Scholarship Secretariat established by law to fulfill a particular purpose. And when you go to their website and read their mission statement, it says it right there that they are supposed to help needy but brilliant students to access education that they otherwise cannot afford, both at home and abroad. The abroad part, it comes up for debate, but at least that is what they are mandated to do, so we'll give them that. And this was all because of a right to information request that was made by the Fourth Estate several years ago. And the Secretariat initially refused to give the information. They said, it's personal. You are using my money, my tax, to educate people. And you say, it's personal? So you can't tell me who you are educating with my money in this country? You see, it's only in Ghana that a government official can even say such a thing and get away with it. Anywhere else, you are immediately sacked. What do you mean? Your entire purpose, your entire function is to serve the people of Ghana. If they want information, you can't come and tell them it's personal. Personal to who? But eventually, they handed over the information and they thought they were being clever. They handed it over in hard copy. Meanwhile, the law, the right to information law, says that you give them the information in the format that is requested by the one who applies for the information. And if that format will cost money, you charge them a reasonable amount for it. They said, we want soft copy. You gave them hard copy. Which one is more expensive, first of all? Clearly, the thing already exists in soft copy. It costs nothing to transmit it. But you decided to print it all and give it to them in hard copy with no soft copy. So I mean, do I have to be a judge do I have to be a Supreme Court judge to see that these were attempts to obfuscate? These were attempts to hide something? I don't think so. So the Fourth Estate then took their time and went through the information. They had to type it all up onto their computer anyway. So they had the opportunity to check the data they were given. And based on the data given to them by the same institution, AMA, some people, and by the way, all these examples I'm going to give are of people connected to the government in one way or the other. Some people were given several scholarships, 1 year after the next, after the next, after the next. This year they're going to do a master's in human resources. The next year they are doing a master's in public policy. The next year they are doing a master's in... You get it? Some people were given 2 scholarships in the same year. One to go and study at Brunel, which is in Uxbridge, so that's near Oxford in England. And another one to study at the University of West England, which is in Bristol. This is a distance of about 109 miles. Okay, 109 miles. That's 175 kilometers. 175 kilometers, like from Accra to Elmina, right? And this person is studying in both institutions at the same time. And they have on their records that they paid both institutions to educate this one person. How? We go for morning lectures at one place and evening at another. In any case, why? Why is the state interested in giving one person 2 masters in the same year? Then there are those who live in England, work in England. They are there with their families. They live there. That's their residence. But the government of Ghana is paying to educate them there. Why? And when they finish their education, they continue to work in England. Honestly, why am I paying for that? Then there are those, I think this is the one that relates to Freddie Blaze's daughter, I think. She's paying to do a course that will allow her to practice law in another country. For Ghana. I mean, how does Ghana benefit from your ability to work in another country? This is what the Scholarship Secretariat is interested in doing. This is what they are spending our money on. Before you come to the numerous discrepancies around people who are collecting money ostensibly to go and study abroad, but then it turns out that they actually did the degree in Ghana, in some Sunyani University. But according to the records, the Scholarship Secretariat has paid thousands of pounds for the person to study abroad. Now this one, as for this one, I want to hear their explanation. I don't think anybody has asked them to explain it yet. 2 people were granted scholarships to study the same program in the same university in the same year. The same, no difference, no variation. Not like one is doing marketing version and one is doing, no, it's the same program. 2 separate people were given scholarships in the same year to go and study the same program at that same university. One of them was given a scholarship of £28,000. The other was given a scholarship of £54,000 to go and do the same thing. What's the difference between the 2 people? One of them is a party member. But in spite of this glaring pattern, about 100 people directly connected in one way or the other to the party, in spite of that, the Scholarship Secretariat still tells us, because they have no doubt of our stupidity, they tell us that the scholarships are for all Ghanaians. And the only qualifying criterion is that you must be Ghanaian. And all these people are Ghanaians, so what's our problem? Meanwhile, there are Ghanaians who apply to the same scholarship secretariat for 9,000, 10,000 Ghana cedis to study in Ghana, to go to Ghanaian universities and study and use it to work here in Ghana for the benefit of Ghana, and they are refused, they are turned down. Then Napo will come and collect money to go and study at Harvard, and they'll give it to him, and he will even come and say in his vetting that if he gets a chance, he will collect again, because there's no doubt in their minds that we are idiots, and we are yet to do anything to disabuse them of that belief. As a people, we are yet to do anything to change the minds of those who think we are fools, because we continue to allow it. And I wish I could remember his name, the head of the scholarship secretariat, Kingsley, in an interview actually said to my colleague Joy News that, look, it looks like we don't understand the law. We don't understand the purpose of the scholarship secretariat. We don't get it. These things that we are mentioning, people getting one degree after one scholarship after another in consecutive years. I mean, it's very simple. If you go and study one thing and then you have to go and study another course to complement it, why shouldn't they give you the scholarship? After all, it's to complement it.
We don't like to leave people hanging.
So you've gone to study something in Harvard. To complement it, we are sending you to University of whatever to go and study something else to complement what you studied at Harvard. And the state is paying for it. And these people are government officials in many cases. So they are leaving jobs that we are paying them to do to go and study courses that we have paid. Scheiße Kamoto. Meanwhile, the children who we claim we are educating for free, some of them are sitting under trees. Some of them can't eat. We can't feed them. But we can pay for Napo to go to Harvard. And by the way, at the time he went, he was education minister, superintending over the failure to feed our children. But we paid for him to go to Harvard. We can't shelter our children. When our children are sick, we can't give them beds in hospitals. We can't give them oxygen. When the lights go off, our doctors are using phone lights to operate on our mothers, on our children. We are okay with all that, as long as we can pay for Freddie Blaze's daughter to go and qualify to be a lawyer in another country. We are okay. That's who we are. So if they think we are fools, whose fault is it? Who gave them that impression? Who allowed them the comfort to operate as if we, who gave them the job, don't have sense? And while all this is happening, the president, not a word from the head of state, the person who appointed all these greedy people, not a word from him, because this is not important to him. This is not important. You wait for some Kunfi people to come and visit him. You hear him talk about what matters to him. You invite him to the Volta region. You hear him talk about what matters to him. It is not this. It's not this. I mean, as a Ghanaian, I'm sorry, but it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And this will not be tolerated anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world, Ama. No government official can survive given the answers that this Kingsley gentleman has given us for that rot. And it's the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, I'm sure lawyer wants to weigh in.
Oh, yes, he does. I mean, lawyer has been dying for this issue since last week. Lawyer, let's hear you.
So, back at the Sala. So our panel want to mention Abdallah. Abdallah is watching us. I'm sure he's watching us from Tamale. But I won't Tijani, I can't be watching
like
for
TJ.
I won't TJ. But he's promised me a special treat on Friday. I can't wait.
Hey, I'm jealous.
And usually, Salah is a very special day in Ghana, and it's a very special day in Ghana because it represents all that is good about Ghanaians. You understand? The fact that in Ghana we all celebrate Salah, we all celebrate Christmas, and when Salah comes and then we all celebrate. At least for me, in the midst of heart attack giving issues that we deal with every day, at least is one bright spot. Is one bright spot that at least the spirit of the people of Ghana has not been put down by all the negatives. That Salah, spirit of Salah, the spirit of togetherness will always lift us up. And to wish D. Kojo Yankson special congratulations. I didn't know it was 10 years. Now, I thought you have been doing one show for more than 10 years. At least that's the. But now also it means that then you've done well for me. It means that he's doing a great job, and it's not because you are sitting here. At least I think I'm fairly honest and blunt, but. And to give to Joy FM, am I permitted to praise?
Please, go ahead.
Well, I think Joy FM has done well in the caliber of people they've always given us as their morning host. Because when, may he so rest in peace, when Kobla Jumo was, I was wondering how are they going to replace him? And then the current Kojo, and I think my view, I thought he did a good job. Yeah. And then when it was there, I said, so how is it going to end? D. He just took it to a different level. D. Just took it to a different level. And you haven't had opportunity of meeting you. And at least, I always say this, I don't mind disagreeing people. But I respect people who are honest about their beliefs, their convictions, and are not afraid to say it. And I think that's, and then for me, that epitomizes the spirit of the fourth estate. And when we have people like D. Kojo Yankson, I think, Charlie, the likes of Kingsley and all they better be careful because, yes, as in, right now, the most special, so congrats. And I'm very privileged to be in your company on this special day. I think Kojo has said it all, so I don't need to go into the details. For me, it's about what this represents for us. That's the kind of leadership, all this brow and the scholarship thing, and then the kind of understanding people we think our leaders have concerning what their duties and responsibilities really are. Could you, in fact, you have mentioned the president. I'll call him Kwekwadu. I'll call him Kwekwadu. I think I'm prepared to call him Kwekwadu. When the scholarship secretary was formed under Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, one of the purposes for it was to build up the human capital of Ghana towards what Kwame Nkrumah felt was the rousing of the black star of Africa. And so, you know something, we don't have the human capital, so let's set up this secretary under my watch, under the watch of Kwame Nkrumah himself. So that at least we can put serious funds into building the human capital of the people of Ghana. And I think Ghana has done well in that regard. As in, this when I mentioned Nana Dr. SKB Asante, he's the foremost, as in, we all know he's a chief, but he's the foremost intellectual international investment law. As in, so when we were in law school, there was this book we read, as in, if you did investment law, Suraja. And this titan of investment law makes reference to another Dr. SKB Asante, and he's a Ghanaian. Wow. Yeah. But for scholarship, these scholarships, I don't think that we would have had somebody like another Dr. SKB Asante, the foremost authority on the law of the sea. I think he passed about some few years ago. I think Thomas Mensah, also a Ghanaian, an authority on the law of the seas. I don't know where Thomas Mensah would have been, but for these scholarships. And we can go on about scores of Ghanaian intellectuals who have been beneficial to the globe. But we have had the benefit of the privilege of having these people because of these kinds of scholarships. Understand? The whole idea is let's build human capital. One, let's find a way of giving opportunity to people who are obviously very brilliant, but because of lack of finances, as in their education will be truncated, sometimes in primary school. You understand? And so you become president, and you are president because you are meant to protect, not just protect, but advance the interest of Ghana. And very central to advancing the interest of Ghana is to ensure that not only do you help develop the human capital of this country, but you make maximum use of the human resources of this country. And so anybody who says he's a leader, whether you are the president, whether the president is giving you a bit of his authority, and so you are the like what's his position? He's a Director General of the Secretary. What's his position? Registrar of the Secretary. You should have these principles and these beliefs and these convictions at the back of your mind, or when you're taking decisions, it should be you should premise those decisions on these considerations. What is in the best interest of Ghana?
Right.
Yeah, you understand? Now, one of the biggest problems we have faced as a people is the politics, the kind of politics we do. Politics of patronage, clientelism, political entrepreneurship. And one of the tools they've used in advancing that kind of politics is the scholarship secretariat. That's one of their biggest tools. So you do some small party job. Oh, I'll call the scholarship. No, you understand? Oh, in fact, there's this. Truly, I don't consider myself to be a politician. And I'm saying this because I never did politics until about 2 or 3 years ago. I was somewhere quietly doing my practice. I just felt that I needed to speak out because of where I felt the country was going. But I don't still consider myself as a proper frontline politician. But my short foray into this politics, as I've had a point of meeting people, one of the remarkable people I've met is a young man called Gabitre. I know I'm sure nobody, you all don't know him. But there's this young man called Gabitre. I've had the privilege of meeting. A very smart young guy. Aced his SSC. I think he had first class in civil engineering. And has been following the NPP, was the TESCOM boy, and you understand. Then he had an opportunity to go and pursue a program in England. I think it was something about railway development, which really I felt it will help the country. So he didn't, and this is a proper NPP boy, as in TESCOM boy. He didn't go on the basis of TESCOM. He went on the basis of merit. Because he had confidence.
Like
he applied.
Everybody has the opportunity to apply.
Went to sit. They have an exam that they sit.
Right.
He sat the exams. I think he was about the highest. And he did very well. So clearly, as in, he was going to make the school. He comes and then he swerved. So at that point, listen, I'm an MPP boy, so let me use my MPP thing. So he goes to see the scholarship guys, and they're point blank. Oh yeah, well, we know you are smart, but we've been following your Facebook. So 2 days, so he take his Facebook wall. This guy's been posting Alan. He's been posting Alan. Oh, but we see if you see your Facebook, I the one posting Alan Chamatin, and you know. Anybody, and see, when you know, when you know, or knowledge comes with some confidence and some belief. So he said, yes, I'm the one posting him. So okay, no problem. Disavow him, and we'll give you the scholarship.
No.
Disavow him, and we'll give you the scholarship.
No.
That's the level, or that's how they see what they can do with that scholarship thing. That's the kind of depravity that they reduce our leadership to. Because right now, and as a start off, I don't need to go. I saw everything on all forces what he said. Because right now, sadly in this country, it's not about the country anymore. It's sad. It's not about those who are. You see, like we can have it. We can have debates, but I've come to respect Kojo a lot. I haven't mentioned Mr. Pratt on Happy FM and on some other platforms. I don't agree with everything he does, but one thing I respect, and he's one of the people I respect most, is because I may disagree with him, but I've never doubted where his interest lies. I've never doubted it. And for me, I can disagree vehemently with you, but I always respect, no matter how I disagree with you, if I believe that I'm disagreeing with you because for you, you are arguing your point because your interest is in the country. Then we can disagree, but we still have mutual respect. My issue with these people, with Nanado and most of the people, is not because I disagree with them in terms of ideas or concept, because I don't believe that the reason why they do what they do is because of the interest of this country. I believe they have their own personal interest and agenda that they are advancing. So they've come, they have their own agenda, and they see opportunities around government as a tool to use to coerce people to either join the agenda or they will exclude you. Because Kudu says something, it's not your money, it's our money. They need to understand that the money lying at the scholarship is not your personal money. It's the money of the people of Ghana. So when you're going to use our money, then the purpose for which you use our money should be for our interests and not to satisfy your personal whim. No, it doesn't work that way. So beyond the patronage, another, I don't know, I haven't read the entirety of the 4th estates, but another thing also that is going on is they are selling the scholarships. It's alleged that they are selling the scholarships. Yeah, I don't know, we should say things as they are. It's for sale. I've had the price about 70 or 80,000. Yes, no, it's so alleged. They should do their investigations, and it's for sale. They sell the scholarships. Because when my boy Gabi went, and he's my friend, I like to you, they beyond the fact that he was doing some kind of politics they didn't like and didn't support, they also charged him. Now that is what is going on here in Ghana. And then once again to support, after Kojo said, I'll say 100. So what am I going to say? Because he did a very great job. Then you are the president of Ghana. All this thing is going on. Even if he said a word, for some of us wouldn't have been satisfied. But you at least say a word. Say something so we know that Charlie, the old man, they run him or something, or he doesn't know what is going on. But it's not a case of he being run. He's neck deep in everything happening at the after all, is it not at his office? It is supposed to be at the office of the president. It's supposed to be at the office. So the ultimate responsibility beyond the fact that he is president, but specifically lies with the president. You understand? And also, one of the problems in this country is the fact that universities don't have money. So that if they really care about Ghana, they should even make a policy that unless it's a program where that cannot be offered by any institution in Ghana locally. Yes, so there's a point that says that you only be a scholarship proposal will only be considered if the course, the program you want to do, is a program that cannot be offered by an institution. Because see, when we go and take this funding from Japan, they insist that if you are going to buy machinery, it should be Japanese machinery. Chinese, it should be Chinese. So I have an issue with the ease with which we think we can take Ghana's money and go and fund some institutions elsewhere. Because some of the people you're mentioning, law, but they do LLM, they even do LLD, a PhD in law. HR, some of them were doing HR. You want to go and do HR, and they add per diem. When you go, they also add per diem. Huge per diems. Yeah, some even the per diem even the interest them past the main. Yeah, you understand? See where we are, 2024, where we are on our knees, practically as a people. We, the citizens of Ghana, yes, and I agree with you again, that all these are happening because we accept them. We accept them. We are not. There's not enough angst in the system about these rots. For me, it's not just about the elections. How we say, oh, change this election, so we change and the same kudus. But I think we must find a way, legally and legitimately, to express our anger against these rots being perpetrated by us. I think it can start by we first of all give the 4th estate full support. It shouldn't matter. Sometimes partisanship does more because there are some people who are thinking that I'm MPP. So if I go and support or congratulate 4th estate, I'll be talking against that. No, but this is not about MPP. It's not about NDC. It's about Ghana. is about Ghana. I think we should start by, first of all, supporting the fourth estate with everything we have in this agenda they are pursuing, which certainly is in our interest. And then let them know loud and clear that the days when they dealt with our monies as if it was their own. Kingsley, if the monies were his own personal funds or his dad's money, is this how he's going to dispense the cash? That somebody is doing masters, one masters in Bristol, one in what's it called, Oxbridge, and that there are people who are like, so every year they are going. So one, they are not working. Two, then they don't even have a purpose and then a focus. Because if every year you are doing some kind of masters, then clearly you don't even have a purpose. So, Ama, I think, yes, this is one of the biggest scandals to have it as it brings to the fore all the rot in the leadership we are being granted. And I think the only people that can stop that are the people of Ghana. And we can stop that if we do not tolerate it. If we find the courage, I think that's it, we find the courage in our own small way to speak up against this Koshoko leadership we are being granted. And we come together as a people and exercise the familiar spirit that's taking over the leadership positions in our country. Because really, Ama, clearly, they are leading us into a hole. Already we are begging, they are leading us into a hole. And clearly we must come together and we can clear that spirit away and get proper leadership.
Thank you. Not today, not on aid.
The only thing stopping lawyer from speaking in tongues to clear the spirit himself is the fact that it's aid.
Look, we hear you.
No,
we hear you. I want us to move to other.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
thank you. There are more spirits.
There are more spirits to be cleared.
In the other issues. So this one, pay me to help me. Somebody eloquently,
you must give that.
I know, right? Government using import duties to halt donor items. I was saying that it's a two-legged, issue. On the one hand, there's what's happening at the Kutuha Okonfanoche hospital. This great initiative that is being halted because of 170 million cedis in import duties, and you're talking about 10 containers of tiles. There's that, where the renovation of a whole hospital is having to be halted because of import duties of the materials needed for the construction or the renovation of the hospital. And then also there's this issue with drugs that are coming in to help with sensitive sicknesses like HIV, tuberculosis,
malaria.
Let's watch the video. Let's watch this video and come back. Stay with us.
The leadership of the coalition of CSO networks in HIV, TB, and malaria wish to bring to the attention of the media and the general public our intention to present a petition to the presidency and parliament on the continued lockup of Global Fund donated health commodities at Tema Port. The commodities in reference, valued at more than $40 million, have been wasting away at the port since May 2023. They comprise antiretrovirals for treatment of HIV, medications for treatment of TB, ACTs for treatment of malaria, insecticide-treated nets, rapid diagnostic test kits, and gene expert cartridges, among others. The situation has currently created stockouts in health facilities across the country. leading to needless loss of lives and frustration for health workers. The essence of our intended action, therefore, is to draw the attention of the presidency and parliament to the looming public health emergency if no immediate actions are taken on the matter. As we speak, we are not sure of the storage conditions of the commodities. We are not sure whether these delicate commodities are being sheltered under the right temperatures or they are being exposed to the vagaries of the weather. Our greatest fears are that if no action is taken now, by the time the medications are cleared, some may have expired or may no longer be safe for human consumption. The required amount in taxes and levies and port charges for the clearance of the commodities will be $3.6 million. The Global Fund raised concerns about this amount and reminded government that as part of the framework agreement between the Minister of Health, Minister of Finance, and the Global Fund, they are not supposed to pay taxes and levies to commodities they donate freely to the country. They also pointed out their relations with other countries where they do not pay such levies and taxes. Regrettably, government insisted on the payment, and this is what led to the deadlock in the clearance process, which has festered to date. In view of the above, we, the leadership of CSO networks, whose area of operations mainly focus on HIV and AIDS and malaria and TB, plan to stage a mass public demonstration to present a petition to the presidency and parliament for immediate action on these two critical issues.
I visited the hospital at night. I came here twice and I was really saddened by what I saw. Konfanochi, whom the hospital was named after, was never sick, so the hospital can't be sick.
And your politics are simply meaning in a Russia required by Yamana. Fear Piara, a Sias, Kumasi Piara, Sawomame, Sidi Ohana, City.
I urge everyone, including households in Ashanti region, to join me raise money for this project. Even 200 Ghana cedis will be appreciated. And I was really saddened by what. I visited the hospital at night. I came here twice and I was really saddened by what I saw. Konfanochi, whom the hospital was named after, was never sick, so the hospital can't be sick.
And your politics are simply meaning in a Russia required by Yamana. Fear Piara, a Sias, Kumasi Piara, Sawomame, Sidi Ohana, City.
I urge everyone, including households in Ashanti region, to join me raise money for this project. Even 200 Ghana cedis will be appreciated. Let's support this project.
And once the name say hospital, you didn't say hospital, I say.
Welcome back. So those two videos, first we watched the video from Mr. Ernest Otson. He's the convener, for all the CSOs for HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis. I think I have a few names. Let me give, credits where credits is due. So in the statement read by Mr. Ernest Amoabin Otson, who is the lead convener and president for Ghana HIV and AIDS Network. That statement is actually signed by 6 individuals. Himself, there's also LCI, Mrs. LCI. She's president of the network of persons living with HIV. It's also signed by Bright Emi Sanyako. He's the national chairman of Ghana Coalition of NGOs in Health. It's signed by Professor Samuel Atso Duncan. He's president of the Ghana Coalition Coalition of NGOs in Malaria. It's signed by Jerry Amwa Labi, he's Executive Secretary, Ghana TB Voice Network. And then there's also Mr. Eric Agbozo, he's Board Chairman for Stop TV Partnership Ghana. And I'm saying all of this to, to buttress the point that all of these organizations, CSOs, of which Mr. Hudson leads, called this press conference to draw our attention to this very important issue of donors giving us drugs to help, in all of these sectors, all of these NGOs and what, sicknesses like HIV, tuberculosis, malaria. And, we saying, literally what our title says, pay me to help me. That if we don't pay, we will not allow the drugs to come into. Lawyer.
In fact, so similar as in the spirit of the lack of interest.
Sorry, I'm sorry I have to do this. There's also the one from Otumfo. We played that video after we played the other one, and that also we saw all of these notable people within that region. This great initiative to rehabilitate this almost historic hospital, beyond the fact that it serves so many people, it's also just the relevance of, and for us to say that the items that are being brought in to do the renovation, because we are not paying import duties of, the amount, 1.7 million cedis, or, that we will not allow for those materials to come in so we can rehabilitate the hospital so it can serve us and save us. Go on, I'm sorry. I had to put it all
it's
together.
Very.
Right.
So, again, like I said, in the spirit of we having leaders who clearly have shown that in the decisions they make, they do not have any consideration for what is the interest of this country. Because then, how can you justify why you, the state, your responsibility is to provide, because G is for the state. Sorry, when a G includes, those of us from Kumasi, we call Konfanoshi G. No, G was the G. So G, after the contractor that built the hospital, G, I think Japanese or Chinese. So Konfanoshi Teaching Hospital is the property of the state. It's not a private entity. And then over a very long time, it's not seen any kind of renovation. You understand? And I think there are certain blocks or parts of the portions of the huge portions of the hospital which really are practically redundant. And so the Otumfo, who does not have the executive powers, we do not pay our taxes to the Otumfo, but he's the Otumfo of Asante, felt that he needed to mobilize some kind of private support in renovating what should have been the duty of the state to renovate. Because that's the whole idea. And so it's put together people as they raise money. Their target is to raise about 10 million. They've managed to get about almost 40% of same. They've bought equipment. Also, because of what AIDS can do to any country in terms of its impact on the human capital of the country, so AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Some people sitting there somewhere, they're not Ghanaians, you understand? Having been encouraged by Kofi Annan, you understand, the Kofi Annan creates a fund, and then consistently this fund has been aiding Ghana with free supplies of antiretroviral drugs for those of our compatriots living with the HIV virus, tuberculosis, and malaria. And this have gone on, as in this support from them has gone on for close to over 22 years. Now, they in their wisdom managed to get their arrangement structured, and so it's not about they just bringing the drugs, but they got the Ministry of Health together with the Ministry of Finance to formulate some kind of document. We say, listen, so we'll bring the drugs. We are even prepared to give you 1% of the value of the drugs we bring at every point in time to you as port clearance duty. So even before they made the offer, common sense will dictate that if somebody is helping you in this manner, then give the person some kind of incentive. Because really, proper leadership always sees taxation, not just as a means of raising revenue, but also as a means of, as an avenue, a tool to use incentives. Incentives, that's by way of subsidy, to attract investments into certain sectors of your economy. You feel that maybe because or for whatever reason you need investment, but you just don't have the money. Even where you have the money, even in serious countries, they still, in their tax policies, have incentives to attract investment, private equity investment into certain sectors of their economy.
Specific sectors.
Yeah, you didn't do that. You haven't done that. They themselves, as an out of their own magnanimity, makes you this offer and also provide you 1% of the value of whatever drugs they are bringing as duty to you. Now, since 2002, in fact, this is the first time I'm even hearing about this group funds and what they are doing. We've never heard, and I always say this, I'm a football fan. After a football match, where there's no discussion about the referee, the referee has done a great job. So from 2002, we've never had any issue whatsoever. People don't even know that there's something like this as this. Until this issue, I didn't even
know we're being helped.
No, I didn't even know Kofi Annan even did this for Ghana. Enter Kweku Adu. Enter Kweku Adu. President Kweku Adu. He says, listen, man, you need to pay me to help me. You can't just...
Come and help me.
No, you can't just go. You just can't help me. You need to pay me. Jesus Christ. What is happening? So he tells O2 because the 2 Force Project 2 is stalled. Why? Because the government has not seen the wisdom in using incentives, not only to help this project, but also to encourage people who think they can help a situation in one way or the other, whether health, education, sports, but rather it has to take a pressure group to rouse public interest. Because I understand they've agreed to do the needful in relation to the group fund, but it's disappointing.
Yeah.
And
they're happy to undertake a demonstration
before you do.
2 weeks.
Meanwhile, because this group thing, it's been going on for over a year. As in this drug impulse at the port, it's been going on for over a year. Now, so over that 1 year period, how are people who are living with HIV, how are they surviving? You understand? The malaria people, the tuberculosis people. Because last week, I think you gave a very beautiful submission about the DUSO, and was it last week or last 2 weeks?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, very about your drugs, the fact that you need to refrigerate it. Because those in leadership, they are not thinking about the repercussions of these small issues. And they are not thinking about it because they don't care. You see our rules, so people construct rules, and then within a few weeks the rules spoil. Because when the engineers who go and sign off those rules did not think that lives could be lost because of the bad state of the rules. You understand? So unfortunately, the people who are leading us, and I don't use some words because you say that I want to speak tongues, but clearly the people who are leading us, I don't know is it the case that they don't have any, or that they are not far-sighted. They can't see beyond their personal interest. Because when you are a leader, you should be able to think far, think about all the possibilities. Because of this lack of common sense, people who are living with HIV are going to suffer. People with malaria are going to suffer.
Lawyer, it's worse than that. Normally we think about malaria and we think about the person that's suffering from, as if it's a wonderful thing. Any woman that's been pregnant before will tell you, what big of a deal malaria becomes within that 9 months of your pregnancy, and how pregnancies are lost daily because of malaria. It's one of the biggest headaches of healthcare professionals in this country. When it comes to maternity, you wouldn't link the two, but they're so closely linked. Malaria and maternity in Ghana is a killer. So I'm shocked that we have drugs for malaria sitting at the ports. We have mosquito nets for malaria sitting at the ports. And we are saying what?
Pay me.
if we are not paid, we'll leave the drugs there to rot.
But you know what's worse?
And we're also rationing, antiretroviral drugs.
Yeah. 1 month, you understand? And you know what is worse? The people are actually giving government free revenue. Because that 1%. So let's say the 1.2 billion. 10% of 1.2 billion is 120 million. So 1% will be $12 million. So government over the period has been given $12 million free dollars. But we should even organize a probe. That 12 billion, where does it go? Yeah, I'm telling you.
Let's get the drugs first, Laura. Let's get the drugs in first. Let's get the drugs. When we get the drugs, we'll come back to probe what's the money the money was used for. Come in, Kojo.
Should I be controversial?
Don't be. When you say that, I get worried.
You see, things like this help to convince me. I'm choosing my words well so that there is some allowance around it. I don't want to be absolute. But to be honest, things like this help to convince me that President Akufo-Addo doesn't want Dr. Bawumia to win the next election. Things like this. Because honestly, this is a low-hanging fruit. This is an easy win. A simple thing. And you see, in the beginning, when they first came and they had another election ahead of them, and so they cared what people thought about them, they did things differently. This same Komfanoche, when Seth Kwame Boateng at Joy FM wrote a story about how babies were dying because of lack of incubators. Oh, government wasn't alive to their responsibility. The mother and baby unit to this day still hasn't been built. The proper one that they started before I was born, 1978 or whatever, still is there. It's not completed. But at least the First Lady took an interest, decided, okay, let's raise some funds to build something to save these children's lives. And of course, with the help of Joy FM, we came together and we built a mother and baby unit, which made a dramatic difference to the actual fortunes, the lives of human beings. 4 babies were dying every day before we did that.
Wow.
Do you know that when they were coming up to the 2020 election, they listed it as one of their projects?
No, they still do. Haven't you seen the interview with the Ashanti Regional Minister? When they asked him to list it, and you are listed it.
I don't even, I want to hide my face. You did nothing. You still have done nothing. The president promised when we started that project, and he wanted funds for his wife. He came to promise that within a number of years they would come and complete that mother and baby. It is still there. It is still there in the same state it was before I was born. But the one that we did with his wife is now being listed as one of their projects.
Yeah.
Now, this is why I'm saying the man doesn't want his vice president to win the next election. Because these are simple things. Look, you almost have to put in more effort to get it this wrong than the effort it would take to get it right. Because all it takes is for somebody who has already been paid his salary to come to work and do his job. Just come and put an application through. If the amount is big enough that it must go to Parliament, send it through to Parliament. Let Parliament deliberate on it. Make a decision. Look, parliamentarians have been called from their homes to come back to Parliament, to come and deliberate, to give tax waivers to somebody building a hotel.
I'm sorry to cut you, Kojo, but we understand that it went into Parliament. Some waivers were given. Government insists that the waivers that Parliament gave was not enough. Right? I've forgotten the figures because we spoke to
some of the taxes were not waived.
Right.
So COVID levy was not waived. I think AU levy was not waived. ECOWAS levy was not waived.
Yes.
So
we have 3 outstanding levies
but
that
that's
are not
for
waived.
the drugs.
Right.
That's for the drugs.
Right.
For the building materials for the Komfanoche project. No, look, they haven't even written back to acknowledge receipt of the application for a tax waiver.
Yes.
So that's what I'm talking about. That's someone's job. You come to work, you read letters, you acknowledge receipt. Like that's your job. That's it. That's what we are paying you to do. That one, you haven't done it. That's what I'm saying. It almost takes more effort to get it wrong than the effort it would take to get it right. Because I'm sure every other application, every other person who has applied for something has at least had an acknowledgement that we are processing your application. I think that's a matter of course.
Right.
So I mean, I would be shocked if other people applying for other things are not getting acknowledgement of their letters. But this guy, this one, no acknowledgement. It's almost deliberate. Now, besides that, when the noise started, and by the way, look, these, you have to respect Otumfuo. I suspect that there are things he could do, calls he could make. But he thought, you know what? This is something that the public are helping me with. No leader in his right mind will fail to assist. So he allowed the process to go through. They applied for this thing through what? In February. No response. To the point where now the tiles are incurring demurrage. I'm coming to help you. You won't do your job. First of all, you should have refurbished the hospital. That's your first failure. You didn't do that. So I've decided I'll do it. You can't. I will. So I applied. Just do your part and remove the tax, because I can't be helping you and then you tax me for helping you. Can I say this on TV? So no, do your part and get rid of those taxes so I can help you. That one too you can't do. Okay, fine. So you won't get rid of the tax. All right. But now I should also incur demurrage just because you can't move your backside and do your job. Even if you won't grant it, tell me you won't grant it. You know, the foot soldiers have been coming. You know, these days the foot soldiers are very calm. The NPP foot soldiers, they are very calm because so much of these, you know, issues are indefensible. You can't defend them. But every now and then somebody grows chest hair and comes out to defend something ridiculous like this. So one of the foot soldiers came on social media. Hey, Joy FM people cry. Why are you complaining like that? There is a process for getting tax waiver. You must apply before the items arrive. And if you don't do that, you don't get your tax waiver. So please, tell Otumfuo's people to do the right thing. Government hasn't done anything wrong. I didn't have the patience or the time. Otherwise, I would have gone onto his head to tell him that, look, there is no physics that will allow you to force smarter people to dumb down to your level. It's not possible. We are not fools. You haven't even acknowledged receipt. And if I've applied wrong, tell me that I'm denied there. Deny my application if I've done the wrong thing. But you haven't done that. So how can you come and tell me that I applied wrong? So you are ignoring me because I didn't do it right. You are ignoring me. What's that? Then some other foot soldier also came and said, oh, 10 containers of tiles. Kai. No. This is somebody's private project that he's trying to slip some extra tiles through and not pay. That's why they haven't responded. I said, once again, how do you know this? Do you work at the port? And if the finance ministry has investigated and determined that this is all a scam, the 10 containers of tiles are not going to Komfanoche, deny the application. Deny it. Show that you've done your job. You've looked into it and it's a scam. So you've denied it. But you haven't even acknowledged receipt. So how is it that somebody sitting in his one-bedroom uncompleted house in Ashaiman knows that the tiles are for somebody's private work, when the person who is supposed to deal with the application hasn't even done so? But a foot soldier lying on his poop-stained mattress can tell us Ghanaians that it's a scam. How does he know? You haven't even looked into it.
It's just some serious oversimplification of
it
the
is
issue.
so shameful to hear people attempting to justify this embarrassment. So look, this is why I'm saying that I don't think the president wants Dr. Bawumia to win. Because look, the more you sit on your hands and fail to do even the simplest part of your job, the more angry people get. And the more angry people, you see, they can't direct their anger at you, Akufo-Addo, because you are going.
The one that's coming.
But a year from now, you'll be in your beach house somewhere.
Kojo, my question has still, I asked, both of you a question. My question has still not been answered. My question is, the goods that are coming in, the drugs that are coming in, the tiles that are coming in, the tax that we want to take off these things, is it a fundamental component of a process? I'm so confused.
Good. Let me attempt to answer that. Look, these are automatic processes. It's the law. When something is coming in, you pay import duty. But in certain circumstances where it benefits the state, we remove the import duty. And there's a process for that. And that process is not it's not, you don't have to apply to The Hague. It's a very accessible process. They've done it for hotels.
So the tax is profits. Profits.
When you say profit, so I guess what you're asking is is it some money we owe somebody that we
is
must
it a
collect?
fundamental part of the donation? And I'm asking this question, for instance, maybe there's a specific amount or there's some portion of the amount that is crucial to the things. Could you please come along with me, right?
I'm trying to.
Come along with me. As in, perhaps, let's say you are going to, this is me again oversimplifying the issues, but just so I can make sense of this to an extent. Say I'm going to make a dress, right? And the person making the dress says to me, I won't charge you, but you have to pay for the material. Just what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, if I give him, say, 400 Ghana cedis, the 400 Ghana cedis is towards what I will get. It's towards an important element of what I'm going to get. Mm-hmm. But he will make no profit. He won't charge me for his service, right? Drugs are coming in. All this back and forth about, some of it has been waived, some of it hasn't been waived, and all of that. That amount, does it in any way, shape, form matter to what is coming in? Do you understand? Is it like
we must pay for materials?
We must pay for some essential
absolutely
aspects.
Not. And let me even show you how this is worse. You see, the Global Fund, they've been doing this for quite some time, since 2002. Okay, for quite some time. But at the moment, Ghana is at risk of being kicked out of this process. We're not the only country that benefits, but we are at risk of being kicked out of it. Do you know why? Because we are supposed to provide 15% of the funding. And we don't. So you see, as the thing that's coming, we were even supposed to pay for part of it. For 15% of it. And we have failed. Whether we forgot to budget for it, or whether we decided the money is better spent on somebody's V8, I don't know. But we are not paying. And if we don't pay our component, they won't do their part. They will just take us out because we can't afford them. They are bringing you subsidized, free drugs. You pay 15%. You are not paying your part. The one that I am bringing to you are taxing me.
Free of charge. This one is coming in free of charge. In fact, they've added 1% to make, allocate for taxation and all of that. And you still insist that until the full payment is made.
Do you get it now?
This is mind-boggling.
Thank you. Do you get it now? When I say that it is actually taking them more effort to get it wrong than it would have taken to get it right. Meanwhile, these are human beings. So these are human beings. It's human beings who get HIV, human beings who get tuberculosis and malaria. These drugs are for humans.
So it's you and I. We all get malaria.
People whose votes you would rely on if you cared who won the next election. You would care how they vote. But clearly, in order for you to be this laid back, you can't possibly care. Or maybe the aim is that you want somebody to be voted out. You want somebody to be hated to the point where nobody will vote for him.
It's
Maybe that's it.
unbelievable.
Look, I want to wrap up on this thing with the Komfo situation. Yes. So look, we've given tax waivers to hotels, but we can't even acknowledge the application for this tax waiver. We are giving all kinds of excuses. The foot soldiers on the side are giving all kinds of explanations why this is not happening. But in simple mathematics, the money that people have donated to solve a problem, look, people come from every place north of Kumasi. They come to Komfo. That's their referral hospital. Every place in this country, all the way up to Burkina Faso, they come to Komfo. That's more than half of the nation. And we can't refurbish their old blocks. We can't. Okay. I was going to start talking about children and tablets, but I won't go into that. We can't. So people have brought their money because they respect Otumfuo. They brought their money. That, okay, you will do it ourselves. We now will pay for it. You can do it. We'll pay for it. You want them to pay, not only pay import duty, but demurrage. I mean, for me, the demurrage is insulting. It's insulting.
Break it down. When somebody's, what's demurrage?
Demurrage is basically, look, every time you import something, you have a period of time during which you must come and clear it. If you don't clear it during that time, the port starts charging you rent for keeping your things there. Because you were supposed to clear it. They need the space. Other things are coming. So if you don't come, they start charging you. And they're charging these people $1,500 per container per day.
So the things that are coming in to do renovation, one, come and pay taxes on it. Because you are not paying taxes and you are using that space, now come and pay for the space that you are using. All right.
That's what the government is telling people who have donated, taking money that they should have been using to, because you have made everything expensive, they should have been using it to look after their children. Because you have mismanaged the economy, this is the money they should have been eating. They should have been using to pay their children's school fees. They should have been using, that's the money that they have taken and come to give to this project. And you are charging them demurrage.
I have to say this, as somebody who worked as, AIDS ambassador when I was in secondary school, I have to say one of the biggest issues then with HIV/AIDS was stigma, which I think is the reason why a smart person introduced a policy that said you give them their drugs in bulk, so they don't have to keep coming to the hospital, because they will not go. The stigma attached, meeting people there, that whole process, people want to avoid the process. And so it's for very good reasoning that this decision was made. Now we are told that because of all of this rationing, people have to go to the hospital every month to take their, antiretroviral drugs, because we have to ration it. If we give you all your 6 months, there'll be none left, for the next person to come and take. We are causing ourselves so much harm. There's the actual harm of people dying because they have these diseases, but there's also the harm of going back to years and years and years of things that have been done to help with stigmatization around HIV/AIDS, for all of us to know that these people can live full, meaningful lives. The damage we are causing with this one issue is like nobody is thinking through it. People will get full-blown AIDS without their drugs. People will die from malaria. People will die from tuberculosis. There's that. But beyond that is also the years and years of advocacy and work so that people can, assess these drugs. And I can't believe what is happening. It's shocking for me. So, we have to add our voices again, to our friends in the coalition and tell them that if nothing gets done, because now we've been told they've been given some assurances that indeed, governments would waive and we can go for the drugs and all that. If that doesn't happen, all of us together with them will go on that demonstration, because there's a point at which we draw a line, and this will be one of those points. Can we come now finally to our issue on the elections, happening at, the Ejiso elections? Interesting names are coming up. Last count, it was over. How many people? Was it 16 or 17?
Really?
Yes.
Eventually, 9 people have actually put in their
The actual process, we have 9.
For the primaries.
Yes.
MPP primaries.
MPP primaries for the seats, 9. And very interesting names. You know, I will stay out of this one. Kojo. Oh, the names are very. We have, you know, our own Mr. Nyantechi, you know, being one. Kojo, please take it away.
Okay. Dropping me in it like
I
that.
just dropped you in there. The by-election is for the 30th of April, by the way.
Okay.
30th of April. We still have time.
Yeah. So
have time.
I'll be the first to admit that actually I don't know. I don't recognize so many of the names in this list of 9. I do recognize Kwesi Nyantechi's name. One thing I noted is that the widow of the late MP is not running. Thank God we are not turning it into some kind of by force, you know, obligation on that you know, now political power must be sexually transmitted. Thank God we are not doing that. But
I can help with some of the names.
Yes,
if you
let's
may.
see the list.
There's President Kwesi Nyantechi, former, you know, GFA
President?
boss. Yeah, that's what the name says. It says here.
Is that his Christian name?
No. I think president of GFA. So it's
Not
added.
the president of GFA.
Okay, gentlemen. Okay. Abna Pukua Boyti, she's popularly known as Ejusu Bruni. There's Portia Echampon Abronye. There's presiding member of the Ejusu Municipal Assembly, Helena Mensah. There's constituency second vice chairman, Kingsley Kari Mensah. There's Kwabna Boatin. There's a lecturer at the Akentenapia Minka University of Skills and Training and Entrepreneurial Development. Dr. Evans Dia. He's said to be a close friend of the late MP. He is said to be highly tipped to win the seat, by the way. And then there's also Aaron Prince Dia. There's Mamia Abuaji. There's the former MP for the area, Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, Kobno Wusu Ediomi.
Is he going for the primaries?
Yes. Known supporter of Alan Tremantin.
Yeah. Oh, I'm saying, is he going for the primaries?
Yes. But, rumors that he might go. No, these are the people who have actually picked the form, so he is going. Yes. So these are the people that have. But that's interesting for me. If he's a known Alan Tremantin supporter, and he's picking the forms, then that's interesting. The skirt and blouse.
Elephant butterfly. There's so many elephant butterflies. So
Wow, elephants. That's interesting.
elephant butterfly.
Elephant butterfly.
So I mean, the
see.
Evans Dia name rings a bell.
Right.
I seem to remember. I looked him up to see why I seem to remember him. And yes, he was a close friend of John Kuma.
Right.
He describes himself as a French and English trained business expert. And he says that he is a strategist, a champion in supporting the youth, a wealth creation expert, and a leading voice in the finance, banking, economics, and entrepreneurial space in Africa and beyond. It all sounds very vague, but he says he's a banker. Doesn't even say which bank. So, yes, it's all a bit vague. But at this level of politics, it seems that we don't really need much information on people in order to qualify them. And by the way, all these people have been approved. These 9 people,
Yes.
the party has
Yes.
approved them
Yes.
that they can run for this position and potentially become members of parliament. I mean, I think the name that is sparking the controversy is Kwesi Nyantechi. He's somebody I've met once in my very first year, 2014. Somebody took me to his office, was GFA boss at the time, took me there to, they took me round to meet as many, of the government and, public, officers as possible. And he was one of them. And I remember him wearing a suit and sneakers. And I really liked it. And he was, very nice, very welcoming. And then, of course, we all remember what happened with this. By the way, let's not take away from him. He was super effective as GFA boss. He was. No other GFA boss has taken football further than Kwesi Nyantakyi did. And we need to state that first, because of what we are going to state second. He's been banned for what, 15 years? 15 years by FIFA for corruption. And this followed the ANAS investigation. But when he made a decision that he was going to run for Ejiso, he granted interviews. He spoke to a number of people. And of course the question came up that, somebody who has been banned for corruption, how can you be running for public office? Like, do you even meet the standard, the fit and proper standard or whatever it is? And he said, the FIFA thing is an administrative process. No court of law in this country has found him guilty of any crime. No court of law in this country has determined him to be of bad character. So, what's our problem? Let's not mix apples and oranges here. FIFA administrative process. That doesn't mean that he's not fit and proper. And I smiled at that because he is wrong. It's not only a legal measure. You see how in Ghana we seem to think that everything is a law court, and so if a court hasn't said this is wrong, then it's not wrong. I mean, if the court didn't say it's wrong, then it's right. Quite literally. People have even attempted to use that argument in this despicable issue of the Wulumo, attempting to marry a child or succeeding in marrying a child or whatever it is that he's done. People have tried to use the law to justify it. That, when you read the law, it says no child can be forced. And was she forced? Lawyers of repute, a lawyer who used to be Attorney General, has made arguments using the law to support this.
I heard him.
That's how we are as Ghanaians. In fact, that's how some lawyers are. Present company completely excluded. That's how some lawyers are. They will turn every situation into a courtroom and make you think that if the thing wouldn't hold in court, or if the court hasn't said it's bad, then it's good. As if we don't have brains of our own, and unless we are lawyers, we are not qualified to determine right from wrong. That's insulting. A global organization has told you to keep away from them for 15 years because you are corrupt. It has been determined and it is on record. But a political party says you are good enough to be one of our leaders, so come and run for office. I don't blame Kwesi Nyantakyi. By the way, this is not a criticism of Kwesi Nyantakyi. It's a criticism of our political system and the political party that has allowed for a person who has Kwesi Nyantakyi's circumstances to come and run for public office. Doesn't matter whether he will win or not. The party thinks he's okay. The party has approved. The party is okay with it. So today, if you are a supporter of that party, how do you feel? What's the standard of the party you support? And this is a question I ask young people whenever I interact with young people who are quite politically active. I ask them, so which party do you support? And they'll say, obviously, one of the two big ones, NDC, MPP. Okay, tell me one thing which will make you stop supporting them. I always ask them this. And do you know how they struggle to answer? They genuinely cannot think of anything that will make them withdraw their support. Which means their support is automatic, like sheep following the sound of the shepherd's horn. It's automatic without brain function. How are we doing this? That should be the first question you answer for yourself before you commit to a party. That what is my deal breaker? You will do that before you date a woman, before you marry a woman, before you marry a man. You would ask yourself that question. What's my deal breaker? But you don't ask that before you start supporting a party. What are your standards? What are the party standards? Do they match? Are you going to have to lower yourself to support them? Because if they say corrupt people are welcome,
yeah,
are you still okay to support them? And look, I asked the same question. By the way, I'm not doing this because I want to equalize. It's just that this is the last time I brought up this issue, so I'm making a reference to it. When in the run-up to, I think, 2020, John Mahama went to say to some galamseyers that he would, allow them to do galamsey. I asked the same question of those who support the NDC that haven't heard this. Where are your standards? And where are the standards of the person asking you to follow him? Are you comfortable lowering your standards so you can follow him? But we don't even ask ourselves this question. We hit puberty, we are assigned a party, and we continue like it's an assembly line. Everybody is just party is stamped on your forehead, and you just continue. You never question it after that.
I think it's gender.
It's what?
Gender, neither male or female. It is what it is.
What's that? Say that again. I don't get it. As if it's your gender, right? As if you are being assigned a gender. Yeah. It's embarrassing. It's shameful. But that's not how to do politics. Politics is supposed to be an intellectual exercise. You sat, you thought, you decided, but your decision is subject to continuous thought. And if at any point your decision doesn't live up to the standards you've set as a human being, you change your decision.
Or you influence where you are. Could you? And that would be my interest.
You are in a position to do so.
But I think the numbers might a position to do so. If all Ghanaians were doing that, our political parties would be better. If people within the NPP had come out and said, "Listen, this one, no."
They won't listen to
That's what I'm saying. That I don't necessarily have to leave. I can influence where I am.
The point is, you can do that if you're in a position to do so. Or, let me even qualify it. That should be your automatic reaction to try and influence it. But sometimes you will fail.
Most of the time.
Yes. And when you fail, you should leave. When you fail, you should leave. Yeah. Otherwise, you don't have standards.
It's important. And bringing you in, lawyer, let me make the situation a little bit for you. I had an interview, where he admits to actually paying the money. Right?
I also heard it.
Right. Where so beyond the fact that he's been found guilty of corruption by this global organization, he's been asked to sit down and all of that. He himself on tape, for all intents and purposes, thinks it's okay to say that yes, I did this and this and that, but I tried to pay for it, and tries to kind of lay blame on the other side that even though I paid, they still went ahead and showed the world the wrong thing that I had done, which for me was just like...
and the MVP just validated him. MVP gave him validity. So, I think this is a case of he being validated. I mean, I'll mention the party's name. Stone Academy. The MVP validating because obviously he represents their spirit. So there was a time when Brian Champon said that the spirit of the party would choose their candidate. I didn't say that. Brian Champon said it, that the spirit of their party, or the choice of, let's say, His Excellency Dr. MAAME, not let's say, that's what he said. Was chosen by the spirit of the party. So the spirit of the party is okay with somebody who, I wouldn't say perceived, but who has accepted or conceded to acts of corruption. I understand? Very despicable acts that we all agree are one of the reasons why Ghana is unable to rise. The blacks of Africa is unable to rise again. It's largely because of corruption. So when a major political party validates that, validates the person.
Can we broaden the conversation a little bit? I'm sorry to do this to you. I allowed Kojo, I think he also broadened it. But where are our standards? you know, as political parties, but more importantly as Ghanaians. I mean, because, hey, let's not kid ourselves. Once they've been okayed, Ghanaians will go there and vote for him. There are people that will go and vote for him. There are people that have been voting for people that I have found questionable for years, and they keep being voted into parliament year in, year out. But they keep going.
You see,
back.
in all our straight discussions here, I think we are in agreement as to the kind of standards Ghanaians expect. Because in our very first discussion about the scholarship, I think Kojo said it, and I agree with him, that it's happening because the Ghanaian accepts it. The hospital issue, we accept it. The way we vote, you understand? Essentially, the leaders you choose are a reflection of yourself. And so yes, if you broaden it, I think the standards in this country among the Ghanaian people has been lowered massively. You know, I don't know how else to. Well, in some serious jurisdictions, Kwesi Nyantakyi won't even have the audacity to put himself up to be considered as a parliamentary candidate. But you find that when he wins, the party will aggressively market Kwesi Nyantakyi to the people of Edgeso as being, for want of a better word, their savior. You understand? Now, it brings to the fore a very important issue, as in what role do political parties play in creating the right political culture? It's very critical, because you see, the creation of the right political culture is the only way we can sustain our democracy. Because when you take into consideration what's happening across Africa and why African countries are unable to sustain their democracy as compared to their Western European counterparts, the fact that we all began this democratic exercise fairly around the same time, but and we have not been able to sustain, or we've had problems sustaining our democracy because of the kind of political culture we create. The question is that what role, or do the political parties understand that they have a role to play in creating the right political culture? Because we take their constitutions, the NPP and the NDC, and at least for them, people can speak about the NPP's constitution. See the way they do their things, the values they exude, how they handle themselves in government. It is against anything or everything they've said in their own constitution. So right now, it's not about values anymore. It's not about principle anymore. It's not about Ghana. Yeah, understand? It's all about, in fact, it's business. Because when you use the word patronage and clientelism, the two political entrepreneurship, it is business. Because at the end of the day, trust me, the person who is likely to be voted as their candidate won't be the person the MPP people think is the best. Who will pay more, who will pay most money, who will give more money, is the one who is going to, who is likely to win. I will also like to join their parliamentary and presidential premise. For me, so then my concern is, if the political parties are no longer existing because of Ghana, because why do you form political parties? Why did they come together to form political parties? I think for the political parties were formed because people who felt that they had the same idea, the same beliefs, the same principle as to the best way to develop a country, converge together to form a movement to push that agenda. You understand? So if right now your interest is no longer Ghana, and I'm so sure, 2,000% sure that their interest is no longer Ghana, I mean, nobody can convince me. And nobody talks about Ghana in the private, they hoist their political party flags as against Ghana flags. Because when you watch, and I follow US politics a lot, but I, on top of my head, when I see the Republican Party's flag, I don't see, I don't know, or the Democratic Party, because when they're doing their campaigns, all you see is the flag of the USA.
The US flag.
Yes, but here, it's like, so I think that in support of what Kojo said, and maybe there's a job for all of us to do, but we need to drive into the heads of Ghanaians that political parties by association, your free will, and there must be a lot of thinking done before you decide that you are going to party A or party B. It's not like a right that because your father or because of the tribe you belong to or because of where you are born. There's something I hear in Kumasi. I'm a Kumasi boy. I'm going to charm you. Last 2 months I went to Kumasi. I met an uncle, and he asked me that, is there any chance of me ever, as in the coming election, voting for the MPP's candidate? I said, hell no. So could you sure? I said, I mean, there be, and then no circumstances am I going to vote. And he couldn't believe it, because for him, even though he agreed with me that their candidate is not the best for the country, he's going to vote for him anyway, because it is trying informer, and he can't believe that I want to do otherwise. But at the end of the day, so they are fighting for the parties. Who is fighting for Ghana? Who is fighting for Ghana? And they'll do so because they believe that when they give Ghana anybody as a leader, then they can be getting scholarships every month after month. But they can get 3 scholarships in the same year. At the time, they can get some. I remember 2017, one of the MPP boys, and because it's personal, I'll mention his name. But he came to my office. Some nice Prado, a lawyer, machine on down in you. I say, oh, sir, I see a number of them, and they know that. Listen, I do not merit.
It's our time.
Yeah, I understand. So
we enjoy.
I understand.
Then when it's their time,
but you see, when we drive, because I think that because of how we've done our politics, Ghana has crashed. See, if the economic experts will tell you, whoever becomes president in 2025. Will be faced with something that no president in Ghana has ever been faced with. Those loose monies that they had to be playing around with won't be there.
It's gone.
It's gone. You understand?
It's gone. We don't have time. We don't have time. But perhaps, another time, I'd want us to look at this. And this is just me thinking around the issues. There are some that argue that, the line should be drawn at competence, such that if somebody is good, and could you even alluded to the fact that let nobody take it away from his person, that in some capacities he is good for the job. He gets something So the point has been made by some that you look at that and you ignore everything else. But for me, no. Everything else is what makes the competence. Because it goes, but I think that this is a conversation that perhaps we have to look for time and come back and have, because it's an important thing. Like adultery. There are people who think that if the man is a good, if he's a good boss and he's cheating small. But even with the Christine and Antichi issue, yes, I beg to differ slightly with you on here. He hasn't done the job. So if you take football as just being Black Stars, because of as in where Black Stars got to, you could make an argument that he did his job. But football, and me, I'm an ardent football supporter. When I say ardent, I mean what I'm between 97 and 2004, I never missed a Kotoko match. So as I follow Ghana football very well. Right. You see, the strength of your football is in the grassroots football development, the schools and the local league, and Kwesi Nyantakyi didn't do well in that. He was very fortunate in the sense that before he came, Ghana, Badla, I think Badla and the guy who passed last, Jaula, have not been given their fair share because they invested heavily in the what's called grassroots football, and then to play all dance. And so then when Nyantakyi became GFA, all these, as in the seed sold by Jaula Dems had, and then Kwesi Nyantakyi, you understand? So it is debatable, but like Riley said, leadership is just even more than a built clinic or a built. But even your ability to change the attitudes of the people, you understand, to inculcate the right culture in the people is all part of leadership. And I think he because himself does not have that the merit or the character to reflect that based on his own interviews. How is he going to change what's called the attitudes of the people? Right. And for me, it's also a big conversation around, and you alluded to this fact when you were speaking, around the people who put up their hands for, to lead us, and how little, next to nothing, we know of them. So now the people of Ejiso are going to have to choose, the MPP would have to choose among these 9 people, and they are going to choose based on what?
Money.
Based on what?
Money.
What do we know about them? What's their plan for the people of Ejiso? Based on what? And they will choose one person, they will choose somebody from the other places, and they all come together, and we'll have to vote for them again. Based on what?
Money. Money? Why? It's money. It's money.
Sad.
Yeah. Because there's no information. There's no information. Nobody can come and counter your money with a well-placed question that you can't answer. Right? If you turn up at my house and say, vote for me, here is 10,000 cedis. I can't ask you a question about your track record because I don't know it.
I don't even know you.
I don't know what you've done. I don't know where you failed. I don't know the decisions you made in the past. I don't know the philosophy with which you've lived your life. So I can't ask you questions that would tell me what kind of member of parliament you'll be.
Yeah.
I can't. Best I can do is just weigh the envelopes and vote for the heaviest one.
So there's a fundamental problem with our system.
There is.
There's a fundamental problem with the system itself. The system we've created does not help democracy.
By now, in other places, there are debates.
Oh my
Those
goodness.
9 people, they would have been put on a platform and questioned. They would have been asked questions that would expose the chaff from the wheat. So that at least we can whittle down and get rid of those who are just absolutely hopeless before they bring their money to come and disturb us. So that at least those who are left have demonstrated some basic competence. But no.
That hasn't happened. That should have happened from within the political parties that they are coming from.
Precisely.
The political party should have done that for us. Then Kojomi and you should have been our effort to take it up from there, and then the people of Ghana better informed.
But they don't care. They don't operate to that standard. They don't operate to that standard. So
it's a terrible, our time is up. But thank you. I always enjoy, you both. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Piadankwa.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, D. Kojo Yankson.
D.
Kojo Yankson. Thank you for spending your Eid, with us here on the couch. We hope that you've had some yummy tasting meat, and ours will be on the way shortly. Have a lovely evening. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Truly African.